Digital transformation is a program, not a project. AI is going to stay. AI is going to be beneficial. AI is going to help the organization in many ways. The governance is where we are ensuring the AI model which you are implementing, it should be ethical, responsible.
Welcome to the BeatRoute podcast. In this series of CXO exchanges, we gather insights from thought leaders in IT, digital transformation, and sales transformation to help our audience of retail, sales, and distribution professionals drive their digital transformation agendas. Today, we are tackling AI. Is the current wave of AI mostly hype, or is it something more substantial? And if it is more substantial, how can enterprise organizations prepare themselves to benefit from this AI wave? And who better to discuss this with than a CIO who has been at the forefront of digital transformation for multiple organizations over the past 20 years? I'm honored to introduce Mr. Sandeep Bansal. He has been IDC's CIO of the Year, has won multiple other CIO awards, and delivered measurable revenue growth by driving digital transformation for large organizations across industries. Sandeep, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Nikhil, for giving me the opportunity. It's my honor to share my perspective for the audience. And I will be glad if something resonates with their day-to-day operations or can solve some of their problems which they may be facing.
The honor is all mine, Sandeep. Let's start by talking about something that's on the top of everyone's mind, right? Everyone seems to be using AI in one way or the other, like ChatGPT, Gemini, and we definitely seem to be in the middle of an AI hype cycle. So, what's your take on AI in enterprise context today? So, when we look back maybe 3 years from now, will this current phase look like a trial, an experiment, a bubble, or real progress?
So, Nikhil, saying that AI as a hype, it is right or wrong, both ways. It is something like when you start something new or you involve into a new product, you like to use that product, you want to understand more how that product can help me. In the case of AI, it has changed the dynamics in past 3 years. If we see the moment ChatGPT was announced, right? It is if I say today, AI was not new actually. It was started from 1950s somewhere, right? But the things which is coming now is generative AI, creating imaging, visual AI. There's so many model which is coming in. So AI is productive. AI use case are different. The difference, what is happening is some organization, they know what they want to do and how to start with. They are able to adopt it fast. But somehow in certain organization, right, being a CIO or on the technology forefront, we have been uh, you know, pushed to bring AI as a new tool into the organization. Now, to bring any new tool, there is something which is very important to understand what, why, and how. What you want to bring. So there are so many models. Which model I want to bring? To understand that what I need, why I do need it. So once I know what the problem area I want to address using AI, then only I can bring how I am going to implement it. So the challenge today's case is that everybody want to use the technology. They want to bring the technology into their ecosystem in the enterprise. But in that case, important part is there should be a ground level discussion and understanding, a brainstorming session to understand what use case or what kind of model you want to implement. As many organizations in Indian context, if I say, US is the highest adopter or beneficiary
Yep.
from the AI today. India is the second most. But in Indian context, if I say, we want to bring the technology, but we we are not sure who is going to be the owner of that solution. The earlier there was a time when we used to bring it everything on the IT, and IT used to bring some solution and that is getting implemented or something. But in today's agile world, we need solution and results before the solution is implemented. So anything which is going to come, the result required to be prior to it. So what I say is this is a joint responsibility of business as well as technology. Technology plays an enabler role. who helps the business to mitigate their day-to-day mundane tasks, improve the operational efficiency, bringing the customer satisfaction on the table, right? And solving the difficult problem, or you can say giving the heavy load to the AI. So this has to be defined first when you are looking for AI, what solution you want to bring on the table, why you want to bring on the table. So having said that, today it is an hype. I will say it is not an hype, but yes, people are looking towards implementing it as fast as possible. My take on to the leaders is, because there's a pressure from the board, there's a pressure from the enterprise, there's pressure from the leaders to bring the solution without getting into the pressure, because end of the day, we are going to be asked for the ROI as well. You have implemented the solution, there's a cost behind it. The IT has been the cost center for every organization, right? So we have to ensure what we want to implement, why we want to implement, and how we are to implement, so that the right ROI can be brought on the table. Going towards next 3 years phase, okay, like any transformation journey or any new technology which getting implemented in any organization, or on a large scale or a small scale. In the starting phase, it is a beta phase. Then it comes the implementation or trial phase. Then it comes on the maturity phase. So I believe at this point we are working on it. People will fail. They will
Yeah.
understand the gaps. They are going to fill it, and then they will come to that maturity level. So in next 3 years, this time will be taken as when they were preparing for that maturity level to get the real effect, the real outcome for the organization. So AI is going to stay. AI is going to be beneficial. AI is going to help the organization in many ways. But if we plan it properly, I think the maturity phase can be earlier than what we are thinking today.
That makes sense. So, one takeaway that I get from this is that the AI-led digital transformation should also follow the standard approach of any digital transformation project in that case, right? You need to have clarity about your outcome. You need to have the shared responsibility, and you need to know why you're doing this instead of just saying that, okay, this is the latest and greatest thing, and I'm going to implement that because everyone seems to be doing that, right?
Yeah.
Same principles, maybe
Yes.
just becoming more important.
Yes. Right. Rather than follower, we should be innovators. We should be on the front seat. But to be on front seat, we should know what we are doing and why we are doing.
That makes sense, Sandeep. So, another thing is that a lot of when we come to enterprises, right? Enterprises typically already have some legacy systems, lot of entrenched systems, a lot of entrenched players are already sitting there, right? If you were to advise a legacy enterprise like this, how would you approach AI adoption for them? So would you tell them that, look, you first need to prepare the groundwork over the next couple of years or maybe 1 year, or maybe you can keep the existing systems in place and try some small use cases, or would you try something else? Would you try, maybe advise them to build something from the scratch and maybe replace some of the systems if needed? What should be the approach of these kind of legacy enterprises?
See, Nikhil, there is no size, no, there's no solution which fits to all, right? It is something
Yeah,
like that. When you're looking towards a legacy system, every organization has their reasons to have those legacy system in place. They cannot roll it out, or they cannot reinvent the wheel today because a new
yeah,
solution has come up. And when this legacy system was introduced, say 10, 12 years back, right? Today, there are a lot of organization or verticals. For them, there is no solution available in the market, and they have to live with
yeah,
the solution what they have.
yeah.
Having said that, either they reinvent the wheel, look for the different platform, start doing everything from the zero. But that requires a lot of effort, money, time, and nobody knows whether the results will be same, better, or poor, right? So now, how to accommodate with the new system, right? So when we are looking towards the architecture or enterprise solutioning, right, we always look towards what is the current solution we have implemented, what technology has been used in those current system, what kind of output and data is coming out. Because if I to introduce AI is, the raw material is data, because you have to train your model using the data, and data can be your legacy data, data can be your current data can be anything. So you have to see what kind of format of data is coming in, and what kind of layer you have to build where all this data come and collate in one form or other form, and their cleansing, activity can be done or real time output can be taken. There's a challenge. Yes, the current solution, it is not any AI model right now. I have not heard which is capable to connect with the legacy systems. So there will not be any direct connectivity, which will not happen. But it doesn't mean that you cannot use AI for the legacy solutions. You have to design the solution based on the requirement and understanding. The solution is there, but what and how, that only can be understood when we can see what, for which organization, what kind of solution we are designing the solution.
That makes sense. So you talked about data, right? I think data is the fuel that AI needs, right? If good quality data comes in, only then the good quality of AI output will come. So, and with enterprise organizations where data is coming from multiple different functions, finance, procurement, HR, sales, supply chain, and so many different systems. So, what kind of data architecture or data foundation do you find ideal or would you recommend? So, should the data from all these different applications stay within these business applications themselves? Or do you recommend that companies should increasingly try to bring all of this data together so that they can maybe later on try some centralized AI as well?
So, Nikhil, having said that, there are, again, I will come back to the model or the solution which you want to design. So, at many cases, what happen, the solution which is already you are using in your financial application or your sales application, sometimes they have their own AI module or sometimes they have their own, extensions. Those can actually enhance the data quality or give those kind of responses which is required for a stakeholder or to whom we want to address it, who is the audience to those are going to use this AI tool. But if enterprise level LLM we have to build, right, where you want all the answers related to my data should be, you know, I have to train my own model. So in that case, we have to build our own data lake where all the data should come, collect at one place. Now, before doing all this thing, another most important part is the governance. Because what kind of data you're bringing in? Are you allowed to bring that data or you are not allowed? You're not supposed to give that data to the users. What kind of input there you are giving? What kind of training you're providing to AI? Because the data once you have provided to your AI tool, so it will be able to give the answer, right? If I am providing HR data without consulting the HR or not having my guardrails in place, without having my governance practice in place, I can ask my CEO salary. It will tell me what is CEO salary. AI will not use his own brain. That X person is asking CEO salary is not authorized to. So, in having said that, the data structure and architecture has to be defined. That's the reason now new role is coming up, the DPO role, who is basically the owner of data processing, who is owning the data. However, every function there should be one data owner who should be before designing such kind of architecture, because in that architecture you have to see what kind of data you're providing to AI to train your model and what kind of queries can be asked, what kind of answers can be given. So this structure has to be defined. Second thing is, again, based on the organization to organization, right? If you want to build your own ecosystem, like I did in my last organization where I implemented a AI accelerator, we created a pool or data lake where all application data is going to reside in that data pool or data lake. And based on that data, all the queries will be answered to the stakeholders, or users, or to the people inside the organization or outside the organization. Those are also being defined. Who can be accessible to this kind of data, who can be accessible to this kind of information, and over and above they can further search into the web. So these kind of different categories we define. So it is very, very important to understand, again, what you're designing, why you're designing, and who is going to be the beneficiaries.
So you answered one of my follow-up questions already, where I was going to ask you about the data ownership, right? Obviously, people understand that data has always been important. Data is what you would use to run dashboards on, gather insights on, do all kind of traditional forecasting on, right?
Absolutely.
But now, as data becomes so much more important, I was going to ask you about this data ownership. And are there any new roles coming up? You already answered that, Sandeep. What other roles do you think are emerging in enterprise organizations as they go about their AI-led transformation journey. One is data, right? What are the roles? Should companies have, people who can, technical people who can implement AI for them, or should they have people who can evaluate AI, talk with vendors, and get that implemented?
See, Nikhil, every technology has its own expertise. So subject matter experts are always required.
Yeah.
But there's always depend on the organization how they want to build their own umbrella. In my view, the new roles which I heard, like it is coming as chief AI officer is coming up, and you can have multiple chief AI officer, chief information security officer. You can say chief information officer and chief digital officer. Those can be multiple roles any organization can have. But what we are looking for from these roles, what are their KRS and what are their deliverables, that is important. In my view, the person who has spent their 20, 30 years evolving from a system which was running on DOS or pre-Windows time, and today we are dealing with a cloud, hybrid cloud, multi-cloud. So over the time, we know how the technology evolves and how it can be handled. So there should be a strategist, and that strategist should be driving these different functions and different people within the organization. I do understand in many organizations, right? These roles are being operated under the role of CEO. Now, chief operation officer, because he look after a lot of applications or a lot of function in his own organization. So one function of IT is also being coming under that umbrella. But in certain organization, that umbrella, CIO is a different function, which is also working along with the CEO or managing director under his vision, what vision he want to drive in and what he want to bring on the table for the benefit of the board or for the benefit of the leadership. Because what is the outcome that digital application is going to bring on the table. So business and technology has to work together. Now, in that, scale, the technology leader, whether it is CIO, CTO, or CDO, he has to understand what kind of subject matter expertise he require under his team, which can be, AI officer or data scientist or somebody who understand the data well. Because if I am giving this role to somebody, who is maybe a solution architect, enterprise
Yeah.
architect, or maybe programmer or developer, but he may not be knowing about data. So again, one person cannot play on this role. So we have to have certain people, a pool of people. Those collectively can build a real system or solutions for the organization, and that needs to be, running under one leadership. Because otherwise, what happens? A lot of pulling within the department happen, right? This belongs to application team, this belongs to security team, this belongs to AI team, this belongs to infrastructure team. And then end of the day, what we are looking for, the success matrix defined for that project, that doesn't achieve. So I believe, there should be a right architecture or solution has to be driven by one person within the organization, and all these roles should come under him. It can be MD itself, it can be CEO, it can be CO, but then there should be a technology strategist who understand all this technology and who can bring in the people those are required to meet those expectations of the organization.
You spoke about having someone who understands how technology evolves. In case of AI, it is evolving very fast, right? Not just what capabilities software have, but also how software is being built and deployed. So that obviously makes sense that you would want to have someone who can learn from the experiences, see the exponential rate of growth, and try to at least understand how AI might evolve so that you don't end up in a situation where you spend a couple of years implementing some AI stack and 2 years by the time it is done, it's already outdated, right? So that makes sense to me.
So here,
There
Nikhil,
are a couple more. Yeah.
a leader, he understands that when he's designing a solution, it needs to be scalable because
Yeah.
the technology is always evolving. That's the reason I said we have been working in the industry from last 20 years. We know today some solution which we have implemented, something new is going to come in next 2 years. The organization is not going to plan for a new solution again and do the reinventing of the wheel. So that's the reason you need a person who has to set a strategy for next 5 or 10 years. He cannot think only for today or 2 months later, right? So that is where our role comes in. In my last organization, I designed the solution or strategy for next 10 years. Now somebody asked me how you can assume what is going to happen in 10 years. Question is not what is going to happen. What tools, what platform, what solution we are implementing. We are keeping that option in our mind. If something coming tomorrow, my application should be able to connect with that. My application should be able to integrate with that new solution, or my application should be having that capability that it gets updated or upgraded as per the new technology coming in. So there, that is where we are not looking for a short-term goal. We have to have a short-term and long-term vision to meet the expectation of the organization.
Yeah. So you spoke about scalability, right? Now, many times business side thinks scalability means being able to handle progressive workload, right? What other dimensions of scalability that organizations should consider? One is obviously being able to handle progressive load. That is the simplest way of looking at it. Another might be, being able to handle different kind of processes within an organization. And you are saying that the scalability also extends to how this platform can evolve with time. So time also becomes a dimension of scalability.
Yeah. So scalability, when you define, one is definitely about the workload. The future, if
Yeah,
you are adding new team member, my application is
yeah,
going to manage that workload or not.
yeah,
Second, we are looking toward the redundancy. If something fails, if I'm being able to, my application is ready or my infrastructure is ready to, keep the business continuity on. Now,
yeah,
when you look towards the scalability, today the cybersecurity landscape is increasing, right? Where JTNA is also going ahead, where people are looking something which is beyond the zero trust, right? So
yeah.
if my application is or my architecture, so here the question comes of enterprise architecture, right? So when you are designing your enterprise architecture, you have your bottom layer, you have a middle layer, you have a top layer, and then you have some supporting on the left and right side. So all these architecture design, when you're doing, you keep a scalability option in there in that architecture, where if some application or some new tool or some new solution which is coming in, I should be able to add. I'll give you a very good example of a CRM tool. CRM has been a tool, I think today in Indian market, it is somewhere around $2.3 billion market of CRM we are having. And the biggest players are all, coming from Silicon Valley. Now, the CRM market has grown over last 5, 10 years. People are not aware what is the CRM is. Today, now they are able to understand the CRM is where the lead is coming in, and from lead to prospect to customer, the entire journey is being captured. Where when the lead was coming, the organization was not able to understand from where this lead is coming. Then there's an
Yeah,
application start coming which is evaluating the marketing tool, right? Who is capturing every social media handle or visualizing from where the lead is coming and giving you the clear picture of your lead, what kind of activity
life
you're
cycle.
performing in market, what is the ROI of every activity you're conducting, then you're running campaigns. So if my application, my CRM application is not capable enough to integrate with these tools, I will not be able to get those benefit. I cannot implement a new CRM tool every third year. So I have to plan taking that kind of platform or technology, which can help me to integrate futuristic solutions, which give me capability to evolve with the time, which give me capability to deliver faster. So if you say today we are talking about no low code, no code. Reason why? Because if I go with the traditional coding languages, I have to write down a complete code to build a very small thing. Sorry. So the low code, no code give me opportunity to call the objects and elements from a different set. Those are already available, and do a little bit of coding or over and above and deliver faster. So these are the scalability, delivery to be faster, security of the
Yeah.
data, and integration with the future technologies.
Thanks. Thanks, Sandeep. Thanks for delving deeper into that. In your previous comments, you also spoke about uh, data lake, right? So is this scalability one of the primary objectives for implementing data lake, data lakes, or does data lake serve any other primary purposes beyond just scalability?
No, see, Nikhil, okay, I will say data lake is, this is also very important when we're talking about data lake, because any new solution, it comes with cost.
Yeah,
It is not only platform cost, it also involves the people cost, because you need people to implement it and manage it, right?
yeah.
So when you're implementing data lake, you also need to understand what is your data size today. If your data size is not very large, I don't suggest one should enter into the data lake scenario, right? Because it should not become a white elephant tomorrow, and you tomorrow ask who bring the elephant in the room, right? So my point is here, when we are looking towards a data lake, right? Data lake is a part of scalability, but there is always a steps, right? If my organization has got matured up to this level, I should go look for consolidating my data. If I am matured on that level, my data is clean, my data is increasing exponentially,
Yeah,
so shall I bring
yeah.
the data lake into the picture? Then there should not be duplicacy when I bring in data. I am telling you, there are so many organizations, they have their data cloud, and what they are having is some of their admin team is keeping backup of their application. Even some are taking their snapshot and keeping the data lake. The cost of data lake is so high. Who is paying it? The organization, and nobody knows it. The problem is, I am telling you, in many of the organization in my past, I have got a record. Whenever I went inside and see the cost of either cloud or data cloud, because data lake may be on some of the cloud infrastructure, so we call it data, maybe data cloud. So all this application, there are multiple backups, redundancy, or some practices are implemented which is not right, and the cost of that subscription is going high month on month. We are able to reduce 30-40% of the cost very easily by just implementing the right policies in place, by keeping the retention policy in place, ensuring this data is available for this much of time, and removing the duplicacy.
So this takes me back to the beginning of this conversation, if I may add. Just like any digital transformation project, just like AI implementation project, for data lake implementation also you need to figure out what is the outcome that we want,
Yeah.
what is the investment, what is the ROI that we are trying to get. It becomes such a basic principle that people should think of in every digital transformation project then, right?
So, Nikhil, I will say now a different way. Digital transformation is a program, not a project.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
difference between a project and program is that a program has multiple projects within it.
yeah,
Okay, so everything is a project. Whether you are migrating a data, whether you are implementing an application like HCM, you are implementing ERP. So, every small application or large application is one project, right? Which comes under one program, that is called the digital transformation
digital
program.
transformation. Yeah.
Now, in my view, what I did the practice, and I feel that has been a very good helping hand in my, deliveries. That every project I created one vision, what we want to achieve from this, and what kind of value I want to give it to the organization, or what value organization is looking into this, post implementation of the solution or project, right? And what kind of tools are required? What can the challenges I may face during this entire journey, and end of the day, what is the success matrix? There is a you cannot change the goalpost. Okay, for example, I am a runner. I started my 10K. As soon as I reach a 9K, you cannot move the goalpost to 11K. Nah, you have
Yeah.
to keep it to 10K. And second thing is, as a runner, if from the start I have, kept it in my mind, I have to run for 10K. I'm telling you, I can run 10K. If at the 10th kilometer, I think I will run for another 11 kilometer to make it 21K, I will not be able to, because my mind, my body was not ready. So similarly, if I have not defined the success matrix, the goal post I want to achieve, I believe most of the project fall back, because the goal post keep on changing, requirement keep on changing at the time of delivery, at the time of implementation, and end of the day, where you want it to reach, You never reach to that location and you reach somewhere else.
Yeah. Uh, so
जाना
coming
था
back,
रंगून पहुंच गए चीन.
yeah, that happens. In fact, I thought I will ask you about something we have seen in different organizations that we speak to, that they've started their digital transformation journey and it becomes a never ending race. It never gets finished. They start, they implement some tools, and it never gets over. Even if you catch up with them 3 years later, 4 years later, they're like, huh, we have reached
चल रहा है,
60%,
चल
70%,
रहा है.
but finishing touch nahi aa
Work
raha
in
hai.
progress. So Nikhil, I have drawn very large projects, and what I learned in my past, because every project gives you a new learning. As I said in my previous answer, always define the periphery of the project. It doesn't mean that we are not going to take the changes. We are not going to take the input. So that's where the agile methodology comes in the picture, right? Where the some practices come into the picture. They help us to keep the track of the deliveries, right? We keep on giving small deliveries till the end of the project and ensuring by the time we reach in the end, there should not be any change in goalpost. If we see there is a big change which is coming in and can impact our deliverables, right? So there are two things we see. One is how it is important for the organization, how it is going to impact the project success, right? Based on that, then we define if this is going to change the goalpost, then we go live with the project, which was defined earlier, and within next couple of months or maybe 1 month or 2 months, we try to give an update with the changes which has been requested. So by keeping this kind of tightness towards our approach on the what was the requirement, what was the expectation from the project, we keep ourselves very focused towards the deliveries which is required, so that project should not get stressed. Because what happen when the project gets stressed, there are multiple things happen. One is the cost is never ending. Second thing is that interest of the organization. Third, adoption becomes a challenge. Fourth, what you wanted to achieve today, after 4 years, the requirement has changed. And what you were talking about, AI or new technology coming in, by the time you are getting ready in the fourth year, the new technology start coming in. So you have to very agile. You have to understand what you are delivering today, so that by the time new solution technology comes in, either you should be ready to adopt them, or else your project is already delivered and you can plan for new enhancements. As I told you, the first year is kind of when you're getting ready. Second year, you're, you know, mm, uh, fixing your laces. Third year, when you start running, the maturity
Yeah.
stage.
Sandeep, there are uh, there's a topic that you have written a lot about. I think you would have some great insights with our audience to share on that. That is AI governance. So, when it comes to AI, right, what are the biggest challenges where you say that AI governance plays a role? Like, is it the sharing of data with the AI models where there might be a lot of concern from the organizations? Is it not just being able to share the models being able to read the data, but also being able to train on that data, right? Or is it something at the user level when AI gets implemented, right? And the users, maybe in our case, for example, field sales executives or area managers, territory managers, or channel partners, they start using AI, right? Where is the biggest challenge in terms of AI governance?
So first of all, I would like to add, Nikhil, here. I am part of WAIG. So word AI governance, which has been a foundation which has been created by our leaders Umang Mehta and Mr. Raju. So the objective of this foundation is to speak or let the people understand the governance model. Because as I was earlier, sharing that data is the gold or data is the oil to run the AI model, right? You have to train your AI model using that data. Now, when you're training somebody, right? I will give you the context. If you are training an intern, you would like to train him on the ethics, principle, and values, right? The governance is where we are. we are ensuring the AI model which we are implementing, it should be ethical, responsible, and it should understand what information to be provided and how it has to be provided. And that is not possible only by a data owner or the tech who is going to sit here. The governance should have multiple departments sitting together to set these practices in place. I remember when I implemented my first AI accelerator in my last organization. It is in the year 2024 starting. So maybe a 6 month once the chat GPT was started coming in. I raised the point and ensure that we have a AI governance board. And if you see my LinkedIn, you can see I was the secretary for AI governance board. And that was the reason I wanted the AI governance to be there to ensure what we are putting data into the AI, how we are training our AI model, and what kind of information AI is going to provide to the users, those are going to use this solution. So governance practices are very, very important when you are looking to train your model, because once you have trained it, right, tomorrow you cannot blame anybody who has given you data and how AI can give answer on these things.
Yeah. So you spoke about this, that you need people who are responsible for governance. They might be from different functions also, right? So does that become a big part of whether an organization is ready for deploying AI or not? Like, is that a prerequisite that you would recommend organization?
Yes, it should be. It should be, because uh, uh, I have no authority to speak on finance. I have no authority to give any input on my legal matters or contracts I have done. Means from the solution point of view, right? So the legal team, your company secretary, your marketing team, your finance team, your HR team should be part of it. If you have not created it, and tomorrow your AI model is giving those kind of query answer to those queries, then it will be a disaster.
So uh, that comes to trust, right? There is governance and then there is trust, right? By its The LLM or generative AI, to be specific, by its very nature, is probabilistic. It does not give truthful answers. It tries to give the answer based on certain patterns, right? So, how do you build trust in AI recommendations for all the users and even the organization, right? Or should they start, accepting the recommendations right away? Should they, or would there be some stage where they get recommendations and they have to take a call whether they want to trust that or not? So, how is that journey going to pan out?
Nikhil, see, if today we are doing or we are putting some prompt on AI and putting any query, right? It comes back with a reference document which he has, used to give you that query or
Yeah.
that answer. However, you know, it depends when you are implementing that model. You want to give answer to that query using only your internal data, or you want to use the entire web. So it all depends upon what kind of configurations or what kind of training, as again I'm coming to the same point, you have given
Yeah.
to your AI model. However, based when I say on the trust, yes, if the data is coming from right source, say for example somebody is asking for his leave policy, how many leaves I can take, and he's on a probation period right now, maybe one or two per month. So AI will be giving answer based on the policy which has been provided to him, right? He will not be giving anything which manager might have said, no problem, I'll adjust for 4 days. So you have to see what kind of reference document which AI is taking or using it to give those answers. Then only you can build the trust. Otherwise, it takes time for everyone. What we are communicating today, I don't know you much. We interacted on LinkedIn and we are talking. And tomorrow, my content, whatever we are discussing, you present in some other way. It is all
Yeah.
on the trust basis. In case of AI, visual intelligence, it can use its own intelligence and give the answer. That's the reason they always mention, right? Is validate the reply before using it, because it is AI generated.
Yeah. That sounds very reasonable. So you spoke about LLM training, right? That training and the what kind of data was used, that becomes a big part of it. So And different LLMs have different capabilities, right? There are some general purpose LLMs, and these days people are also building small language models for very specific pinpointed use cases, right? And these models also are, uh, evolving very fast. Their new versions are coming up at a very fast pace. So, what do you recommend to AI leaders or CIOs? Should they directly subscribe to the different LLMs that they think they are going to incorporate in their stack, or should they let this decision lie with the vendors? So let's say they are using, like you gave an example, they are using some system, legacy system or new age system for finance. Let them handle whatever LLM model they are going to use to generate recommendations. Or should the company say, these are my models that I have subscribed to, and these are the ones that you have to work with?
Nikhil, you asked a very genuine and right question, but to be very honest, if you ask me, first of all, I cannot let the vendor take the decision of my infrastructure, right? What LLM he is going to use is not his part, because it is my data, it is my organization infrastructure, and I have to understand what he is providing and what kind of LLM I have to use. Point. Second thing is, it depends organization to organization. If they want to have multiple LLM based on their requirement, they can use it, right? Because some organization they only want to use, they are having multiple agents, right? One agent is only for internal user, another agent is for the external user. They want to have multiple LLM. That can be another way of looking into it. Now, for the CIO to take a decision, if I am at that place, I will first do a complete understanding and study what benefits, what are the pros and cons every LLM is bringing on the table, and to take an informed decision based on the data which is coming in. Because it is not a one man job, right? If I ask my solution architect to take this call, he may be right, he may be wrong. So I will take a collective decision by bringing everybody on the table, understand what they are bringing on the table, what is the long term and short term benefit. Again, the same question comes in whether they are scalable, secure. Seeing all those criteria, then I'm going to take a call. So I will like to say it depends scenario to scenario what you want to achieve and how you want to achieve. But in the entire scenario, asking the vendor to take a call, that is outrightly no, because vendor will deliver what he want to deliver.
Yeah.
Right? Where he is comfortable. And later on, we'll get into a vendor lock-in stage. If I have to move on, I will never be able to move on.
Yeah, that's the vendor lock-in is definitely a big concern when you are building your 10-year roadmap, right? Thanks a lot, Sandeep. I didn't realize that we ran so much over the time that you had allocated for this. But it has been such a wonderful, such an engaging discussion. You helped me broaden my horizon about AI for the enterprise perspective, and I'm sure our audiences would also appreciate it a lot.
Thank you, Nikhil, for giving the opportunity, because whatever I spoke, it is from whatever experience I have seen during my roles at different organizations. And, sometimes what happens, somebody has worked in a one kind of role or one kind of vertical. Uh, it can be pharma, it can be healthcare, or it can be oil and gases. But I have worked in multiple projects, multiple different kind of scenarios. I have worked from concept till delivery. So that's the reason I'm able to understand these challenges and I'm able to answer the queries. But yes, nevertheless, it was a good conversation, Nikhil, and I would like to keep the conversation going on further and look forward. I think you have seen doing some of the discussion with the industry leaders on a platform which I have started named Shatranj, because I feel there's always a game of chess happening between the leadership and board, and that is a fair game, right? Because
Yeah.
board want to checkmate to get the results, and leadership want to checkmate to ensure what they're doing is right. So both are right
Yes.
at their place, nobody is wrong. But how this game is getting into a right results, bringing the right results on the table for the organization, that matters. So it's a good conversation, and I think these kind of the platform which gives us the opportunity to put our voice.
Yeah. Thanks. Thanks a lot, Sandeep.